What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of the BMR NBA show. My name is Junior Browne. I'm joined as always by my guy Jordan Sharp. We got a special guest, a recurring guest.
Am I special anymore? I don't think I'm
special. Yeah,
no, it's still special, especially because before the show went on air, you said that you were kind of thinking about taking off your shirt. So the fact that your shirt is on, you're still special. We're still good.
Thank you. I haven't had enough whiskey to get
unless we're at the beach. I'm not trying to see either one of y'all's nipples. So,
I have little nipples, dude. They're tiny nipples. You wouldn't even.
I'll kick it over to my guy Jordan if he wants to do a little recap of yesterday. I had one play that I did not hit. I did end up taking the Brooklyn Nets live bet just because my guy Lance Make 'em Dance decided to put up 20 in the first quarter and screw my bet over. However, that made the live line nice and juicy. So I got my money back. Hopefully y'all were able to cash in on that, at least for yourselves. But that was the only play I had yesterday. Jordan, how was your night last night?
Yeah, 1-1 for me. The last official that I added right before we went off the air hit easily. Warriors Dallas on Dirk's number retirement night. The Mavs were hyped up for that one. The defense was there. Golden State just could not get off the hump early on and off. I think there was like 20, maybe 41, 42 points scored in the first quarter of that one. Love seeing that one. You got the first half under. Then couldn't get Utah and Denver. Rudy Gobert and Hassan Whiteside both missing. It was over before it even began. Jokic just was not so much point wise, but he was dishing and boarding like crazy last night. So you can't really fault too much for that. But yeah, 1-1 on those officials yesterday. Also, I never thought, I tweeted this out yesterday, I never thought that I would see a more memorable Lance Stevenson moment than him blowing in the bronze ear. And he's had some actual on the court basketball performance memories as well. Especially on a 10-day contract, but last night being the first player to come off a bench and score 20 points in the first quarter in NBA history is pretty crazy to me. Never thought in my wildest dreams that Lance's return to Andy would happen to that. But if you got the live line on Brooklyn like Junior did, I did a great bet yesterday. Kevin Durant could not be stopped. Kyrie even looked pretty damn good, if I say so myself. I was thinking about betting his prop bets, his PRA yesterday. Didn't get to it. That was one I kind of missed out on. But split a pair. I can't complain too much. Try to get it back today. Kyle, do you have anything you fired at yesterday?
It's funny. The only thing I bet yesterday, it was a very busy day, and I'm, catching up on the new Dexter. So then I'm going back and rewatching the old Dexter just for fun. So I was very distracted. My son turned 17 today, so there's midlife crisis shit going on. You know what I mean? Just a whole bunch of that. But I went ahead and bet on the Hornets over the Pistons. I just think the Pistons are so terrible, and anytime I can find a way to take a bad team like Charlotte and bet them, and it turned out good where they score 140 points or something last night and covered easily. So I just had a little easy night. I did half a unit on it. Not bad. It paid for my DoorDash later on in the night.
Well, with that being said, fellas, let's get into today's slate because that's what the people are here for. First up, I got a bet on this game, so I'm happy to see it. First up, we got the Boston Celtics heading to New York to take on Los Knickerbockers. I've made it very clear my position on the Knicks and what I think they are. It's still very early in the season, so there's still time for them to improve. I'm taking the first quarter here. I think it's a bounce back spot for the Knicks. Who lost in triple overtime in the opening game of the season at Madison Square Garden. Boston's net rating, even though in the last month they've been pretty poor record-wise, their net rating over the last month has been actually really good. I think it's top 5 or 6 in the league, and their net rating in the first quarter anyways. It's the rest of the game where they have a lot of problems. I think this setting, after Jaylen Brown misses a layup that would have taken the game into overtime, and Jason Tatum has another one of these stankers where he can't seem to make a shot, even though I'll give her the benefit of the doubt that he's been out for an extended period. I think they come into Madison Square Garden first quarter -0.5 with that energy, and they cover the spread. Now, I know that's such a simplistic way to cap this game, but first of all, I have no respect for the Knicks, so let me just start there. Second of all, it's a revenge game spot. Third of all, it's a division game. Fourth of all, both of these teams are severely underachieving. We're almost 40 games into the season, and the Celtics have a below 500 record. If you would have told me that before the season started, I would have told you you're absolutely out of your goddamn mind. Yeah. So I think the Celtics look at last night's game as a missed opportunity and come into MSG, one of the best places to play in the league, one of the places that all the stars usually bring their A game, and they look to try and wrong the rights of yesterday. Now, does that mean that they win the whole game and cover the whole game? I don't know. I'm just going up by the narrative that last night is going to leave a sour taste in their mouth. Short trip to New York on a back-to-back, and they come out with that spark that they need to get things done. Someone tell me I'm wrong. Jordan, what do you think?
No, I don't think you're wrong at all. I'm kind of targeting the props in this one if I can.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I haven't fired yet, but I am kind of looking at is RJ Barrett. He's been absolutely on fire, and he does perform well against the Celtics, but for me, I think the under would be the only way I could look at his points, rebounds, and assists tonight, about 27, 28, depending on what shop you're looking at. He's got a very tough assignment on defense, and he will be the entirety of the game. He's beaten up on some bad teams or some teams that have been missing a lot of guys kind of lately. And granted, his points, is kind of the wild card in this one. If he's dropping 30 points, obviously it's over. But if the Celtics can keep him to kind of his season average around, like 15, 16 points, maybe under on his points, rebounds, and assists, cash pretty easily, because he's not going to have a easy time rebounding the ball tonight, I don't think, with the Celtics back to their two bigs lineup. And on top of that, I know that the issue here is, and I think what's keeping me off of it here, and I may just isolate the rebounds or the points, potentially not add assists, because the ball might be in his hands more just because the Knicks missing multiple point guards right now. And that could lead to him being a little bit more of a facilitating role into this one. But spread-wise, total-wise, I just don't know if I can get involved. Boston, though, has been pretty much, most of the season, if not a whole season, one of the best teams on the second night of no rest. And that's another thing I'm kind of looking at as well here in this one. So nothing official for me on this game, but that would be kind of the areas that I would look at. Yeah, but I just don't know if I'm going to get there with Barrett just yet. Kyle, you got anything on this one?
Yeah, I actually have an official play on this one. The total's low, 207.5. Now, look, everything you just mentioned is perfect. First of all, Jason Tatum's first game back was last night, so maybe a little bit of that rust is off. We know Jason Tatum loves Kobe Bryant. We know how much Kobe loved Madison Square Garden. We know how these stars love Madison Square Garden. I think that gets a little bit of the rust off on this back-to-back. They underachieved. 97 points against the Spurs makes you nervous. You should never be held under 100 points against the Spurs, especially with the pace they play and the type of defense they play. Now it's a short, you get to have a quick memory, get back on the court, get things fixed. I think both teams can score on each other. Julius Randle's been back for a game too, getting some of that rest off from the protocols. I took the over 207.5. Anytime I see two teams playing in Madison Square Garden, you got Boston, who's a good defensive team, but they're on a back-to-back. They're going to be a little bit tired, maybe not as aggressive defensively. I think the 207.5 is a little bit low. Both these teams average over 105 points a game. They give up over 105 points a game. I think they get there tonight in a higher scoring game than the line is showing, than the numbers are showing. So I took the over 207.5. That's an official play for me. One prop I'm looking at, I know that Jason Tatum's back, and of course Jaylen Brown is there, but Marcus Smart's points prop is 10.5 at minus 130. I think he goes over 10.5. Even with Jason Tatum back last night, still had a usage rate close to 20%. I believe it was 18%. He's going to be on the court for 33 plus minutes. There's going to be tons of opportunity. 11 points for Marcus Smart seems a little bit low. Over 46 fantasy points in each of the last three games. 36, 43, and 41 in his last three games. I think Marcus Smart gets over that 10.5 mark at minus 130, but my official play on the game is the total for the game over 207.5.
I like that too. I did mention that the Boston's been really good on offense, or have really good on back-to-backs, but their offense has definitely been what's carrying them on no rest this season, not their defense. That's a great point.
So the last time Jaylen Brown played at MSG in the first game of the season, he dropped 46. Jason Tatum had another one of these super stinker games where he shot 7 for 30 in that game. I remember that so specifically because I'm watching the game. I'm like, my guy, you've missed like 8, 9, 10 threes in a row. You're going to take 11 and 12 now? Like, what is this guy doing? Like, anyways, he gets me so upset sometimes. His shot selection for a superstar is among the worst in the NBA. If he would just trade some of these threes for free throws, I promise you that not only would his game pick up, the team overall would just get better results. But again, I'm not going to be one of those people that acts like players don't go through slumps. He's still super young and still learning. But if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown show up tonight, I don't see any reason why Boston wouldn't roll. I like the number at -0.5. I like the spot with them, having that really bad taste in their mouth and getting to bounce back against a direct division rival who have the exact same record as you do.
Junior.
This is a must-win game for Boston to me.
Sorry, not to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
I want to go back to that first day of the season, or I guess it was the second day of the season when we were talking about the first day of the season. We were talking about this game. We were just like screaming at Jason Tatum, like, why don't you and your 6'9" ass take the ball to the basket? Why are you settling for so many jump shots? Dude, his field goal percentage by distance and within 10 feet is just plummeted this year because, like, you're right. He's just, like, shooting way more shots from the outside. Like, if I was 6'9", like, I know I probably wouldn't still be in the NBA because I'm just not that talented. But if I was 6'9" and I was playing basketball, I would just take the ball to the basket every single time. Either get fouled or you're going to get a dunk. And, like, it's unfathomable to me that a dude that talented and that big is settling for so many jump shots this year.
So I'm not going to harp on this point, but I'm going to just expand on what Jordan just said, because people are going to misconstrue what you're trying to say. What you're trying to say is if you were 6'9" with Jason Tatum's talent, you would take the ball to the basket. Because not every 6'9" guy is built the same way, right? They can't all get to the basket.
But if a 6'9" and could handle like him, yeah, exactly. Right.
He can handle the ball. He can get to the basket. Why can't he catch the ball in the mid-post? Kevin Durant, if you watch Kevin Durant, if he ever has a game, which is rare, where he's not making shots, the Nets just put him in the high post and let him catch the ball 15 feet away where he's making that every single time, or he's one dribble away from the basket and he's going to get fouled. Why can't Jason Tatum do that? Just think about this. Jason Tatum is shooting by far the worst percentage of his career, and he's taking the most shots he's ever taken. At some point, somebody has to go to this guy and be like, my dude, you have to get yourself easier baskets. Just because you can shoot threes doesn't mean you should jack up 9 of them a game, especially if you're not making them. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking about this because it makes me it's so annoying to watch a guy like this take 8 threes a game while he takes 6 free throws a game. Yep. Somebody, like these little kids say, somebody make it make sense, bro, because I don't understand what's going on. And somebody's got to get in his ear and say, enough is enough. Like, you're talented, but at some point, you got to start doing what's best for the team, not just what you think is best for you. So with that, let's move on to the next game. I'll kick it to Kyle. Kyle, why don't you start us off? What you got on this one?
We're going Warriors Pelicans. Warriors Pelicans. So I mean, the big issue right here is, first of all, Golden State on a back-to-back. Is Steph Curry going to play? Do you think they force him to play in this game against a bad Pelicans team? That's why you're seeing this reduced number, right? I don't want to touch this game with a 10-foot pole. I want nothing to do with it. It feels like an absolute trap. Am I overthinking it? Without Steph Curry, should Golden State be able to beat New Orleans? Of course. They've been the best team in the NBA almost all season long, them in Phoenix. New Orleans is pretty bad, of course. No Zion all year long. Now they got Brandon Ingram back. That's good. But for me, this game is just – I've even tried to look at props. 212.5, without Steph Curry, do you want to take an over in a Warriors game? Probably not. Player props, sort of like the Brandon Ingram over 22.5 -105. I think he can sort of have his way on the wing with Wiggins, whoever they throw out there. Josh Hart, 13.5 points. He's been really, really, really good for New Orleans on the wing. Gary Payton, if there's no Steph Curry, right now you're getting Gary Payton's points at 12.5. That's probably where I'd go over 12. Gary Payton. Can you believe we're taking Gary Payton props right now? But he's been really good for Golden State. If Steph Curry's unable to go with that quad issue, over 12.5 points, -125. But I'm not touching a side or a total here. I just don't know what I'm going to get out of Golden State. I don't know if Steph Curry's going to be there, and I certainly don't trust the Pelicans.
Yeah. I will say this: I don't think Curry's going to play. I'd be surprised. I think that they've already Kerr kind of already like tipped his hand last night after the game. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think that they'd go back on that. This is probably, once again, we talk about these spots all the time. Like these are most likely like planned rest spots, like at the beginning of the season where they're like, assuming we win tonight and assuming we're going down to New Orleans, who is probably going to be bad, we're just going to rest Curry, and they're just following through on that right now. I agree with you, everything Kyle said about the spread and the total of this game. I also, though, I'm kind of more leaning towards the Warriors, despite the fact that I think Curry's not going to play. they've been pretty good on the second night of no rest outside their last one against Toronto. And I think without Curry, like that, you kind of are going to see a little bit more of a team that's going to share the basketball a lot more, get a ton of assists. And against this Pelicans defense, that's probably going to be the recipe for success in this one. We're going to see Jordan Poole hopefully have 25, 30 points in this one if you're betting on the Warriors. But yeah, I would also say that maybe the Pelicans have been one of the better rebounding teams in the league this year. It's one of like the lone bright spots they've had. I mean, when you have 7'2" Jonas Valanciunas down there, that usually helps out a lot with that. But at the same time, like there are other players like Kyle mentioned, Josh Hart, very good rebounding guard. Ingram, very good rebounder. Like these guys are already pretty good at rebounding the basketball. So maybe fading some of the Warriors rebounding props on the under could be some value tonight. But I don't know. I don't like. Kevon Looney was there, I think, earlier, but somebody's hit his line down to like 5.5 rebounds, so I'm not going to touch that anymore. There's a few spots that could be open, but yeah, tough to find value in this game. First, because you don't know if Curry's going to play, and secondly, just Warriors on the second night of no rest, always a little bit of a wild card. Any team on the second night of no rest is a little bit wild card, especially a team who played last night now against a bad opponent who they may not be up to play against too. Just certain kind of red flags coming up for, like Kyle said, betting overs or betting any kind of prop overs on the Warriors tonight either way.
So I got an official play on this game, and it's on the Warriors. I have no fear of this Pelicans team, me personally. And I think that while Steph Curry's probably worth more to any spread than any player in the league, I just think that this Warriors team is good enough to win without him. I think that first of all, I want to say this, and I just noticed I'm looking at my official play, and I wrote Warriors -2, I think, first half, but that's actually the full game spread. So if you guys see that when we do the recaps, that my pick is not on the first half. That's just a typo by me. But my pick is on the full game spread. I think that the Warriors without Steph Curry, this version of Steph Curry, and when I say this version of Steph Curry, whether or not he's playing hurt, I don't know. It's possible. But the last two games, he's averaging 20 shots a game and shooting 19%. Like, to say that's bad is to disrespect the word bad. That is abysmal. That's as horrendous as you're ever going to see. But as good as he is, there has to be some kind of, we always talk about regression to the mean. Bad nights like that kind of regress him back to the mean, right? Because he goes through stretches where he's making unbelievable amounts of shots at a high percentage. So I don't really look too much into his slump, other than if you take those 20 shots a game he's been taking over the last two games and replace them with everybody else on the team, especially guys like Jordan Poole, who are going to have no issue with jacking up more shots with Steph out of the lineup, and you even turn that 20% into 40%, they're still better than the Pelicanos. And I just think that their defense is what sets the tone. And losing Steph Curry is not going to make their defense significantly worse. So even if you think that losing him is going to be a big blow to their offense, it's not like as if let's stop pretending that Andrew Wiggins isn't having one of the best seasons of his career. First of all, he's scoring 22 points a game on 50% shooting and 43% shooting from three. So he's balling. So you give Andrew Wiggins more shots, you give Jordan Poole more shots, you spread a couple more shots around. I think that these guys beat the Pelicans easily, honestly. Maybe I'm disrespecting the Pelicans, but give me a reason to respect them. I can't think of one. So yeah, that's what I got. If you guys, unless you guys have anything else, let's move on to this next game.
Let's do it.
I'm going to kick it to you, Jordan, this time. See what you got to say. I gave my two officials already. I was thinking of getting involved in a first half play here with the Grizzlies, but I feel like the Pistons, though, I feel like there actually might be a little tiny smidget of value on the Pistons plus the points here. Have I completely lost my mind? Am I reaching beyond belief? Because the last couple of games that the Pistons have played, they've shown life. The overtime win in San Antonio, they showed some life. Then they went to Milwaukee and beat the Bucks. Even the game that they lost in Charlotte, yeah, they let Charlotte score 140 points, which is absolutely insane. But people forget how good the Charlotte offense is, though. The Charlotte offense can get hot against any team. Just go back and look at some of their scores. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Charlotte is like a top 3 ranked offense in the league. The third best offense in terms of efficiency in the NBA, and they're second in points per game. So it's not like it's shocking to see Charlotte run up the score on anybody because their offense is really good. It's their defense that holds them back from being a top-tier team. Anyways, Jordan, I said I'd kick it to you, and I'm still yapping my mouth, so I'm going to shut up now. I got to lean towards Detroit plus the points, but I'm a little bit too scared to take it, though.
I'm feeling kind of the same way, and that's coming from someone who is a Grizzlies fanboy. Simply, and even with the Pistons on no rest, the Grizzlies just have the innate ability when playing at home to get way overconfident against opponents they should beat, and then also get way overconfident against teams they probably shouldn't beat and end up playing them well and covering and or beating them. So like the mindset from this young team tonight, I have no idea what you're going to get from Memphis to start this game. I could very easily see the Pistons coming in and surprising them a little bit because Memphis isn't going to take them seriously. And on top of that, Memphis is really banged up right now. Not going to have Desmond Bane, not going to have Kyle Anderson, might not have Dylan Brooks again, who's been out for several games now through health and safety protocols. DeAnthony Melton may come back tonight, don't know. There's just a ton of unknown with this Grizzlies roster right now, and I agree. They've been they've been in the news lately. They've been one of the hotter teams in the NBA, and sportsbooks take advantage of this information. They know when a team that's been playing above their heads a little bit are due for some regression, and it's a game where they're going to come in and just say, "Oh, we're getting the Pistons on the second night of a back-to-back. We don't have to play hard tonight. We don't have to play good defense tonight. There's absolutely nothing. And then the Pistons are going to come in and potentially surprise them. And I agree with you, Junior. The first thing I looked at this was the first half line because I'm thinking 13 points. There's no way, absolutely no way I'm taking the points to D.
It's too much.
Could be 15. Could be 15. I probably wouldn't even still take it. But I agree with you. I have to lean that way because other than the no rest factor and being on the road, everything is pointing to the Pistons with this line here, just because how big it is. And I could easily see Memphis getting up by 20 in the third quarter and just being like, let's pull the starters. Let's play these young guys. And then the Pistons could easily come back and make this a 10, 12-point game. They've done it before. They could do it again here. So, yeah, I'm staying away from this one. I would lean under. The one thing that you can count on this season with the Pistons playing on no rest is their offense is going to really struggle. Now, granted, their offense struggles a lot, but outside of that one game on no rest against the Raptors earlier in the year, way back in November, they've been atrocious offensively on no rest. So that much, if the Grizzlies do bring forth a little bit of effort on defense, you could see some unders be a very, very good value. But I would probably maybe focus more on the Detroit team total side of those unders and not the full game under, because if the Grizzlies defense isn't in tune and ready to play tonight, you're right, JB. The Pistons could surprise them a little bit early, and they're going to have to scrap a little bit, even against this team that's tired. So stay away spot for me, but I agree. I think the under and the dog, a little bit of value maybe, not enough for me to take it, but still, yeah, a little bit there considering all the injury situation for the Grizzlies right now.
Couldn't agree more. Kyle, do you got anything you want to add here?
I'll make it short and sweet. It's take the points or pass. Jordan mentioned it, all of the question marks surrounding Memphis. I would not, if you're betting the Memphis side, I would not do it until you know who's going to be in this game. You could have, like you said, no Dylan Brooks, etc. The list goes on and on and on. The one thing I do like out of this game, if I'm going to bet this game, Jaren Jackson Jr., points, rebounds, and assists over 26.5, minus 120. Should have extra usage tonight. You mentioned all the players out for Memphis. Detroit gives up the 7th most fantasy points in the league to opposing big men in his last 3 games against Memphis. 44, 35, and 34 DraftKings points. I think he hits that PRA total pretty nicely. It's at minus 120 over at BetMGM.
I like that.
With that being said, my guy Esteban, let's get to this last game, por favor. All right, I guess I'll go first here because my son's son, I haven't even really been betting them nearly as much as I did last year, but I have started ramping that up lately. As much as I love these boys, minus 10.5, not doing it. 10.5 point spreads over 9.5, even really over 9. You can basically just count me out, man. 9 is 3 possessions, and 3 possessions in the best case scenario, right? Because you're talking about 3 threes. I'm good, bro. Even the first half spread, I might get involved in that because it opened up at 7 Went down to my magic number, which is 6, which is the max that I'll lay in a first half scenario. I kind of feel like I'm disrespecting the Clippers a little bit by just making it so cut and dry. But that being said, the reason I feel like I'm disrespecting the Clippers is Jordan and I, we talk about home versus road splits all the time. The Clippers' home and road splits are basically identical. They average the same amount of points per game on the road as they do at home. The difference is like 1 point, or it's less than 1 point. And in terms of offense, or in terms of defense, they give up a half a point more or less, on the road. So their home and road splits are basically identical, which leads me then to believe if I think the Suns are the better team, if I think the Suns are in the better spot here, I should probably lay the 6. But as I'm talking it out loud, this sounds like the most square bet that I could possibly make right now. So until I have more time to research and just crunch the numbers and look at the spot and really put some time into this, I don't have a play on this game. I'll lean to the Suns in some form or fashion, but not a 10.5 though. I could promise you, especially after they just got their no. Kyle, what you got?
This is another one. It's a live bet or nothing for me. I'm not doing the double-digit spreads, especially against the Clippers team.
Doesn't make sense.
There's a lot of weird stuff. Now you see the Suns are going to sign Bismack Biyombo for the rest of the year. Anytime you're bringing Bismack Biyombo off the street and all of a sudden he's plugging a major hole on your roster, I'm out. I'm sorry. I'm just out. I'm not going to do it. Now, the Clippers are also short on big men. Obviously, Ibaka's having to get more minutes. Amir Coffey has been an absolute DFS dream for me at super cheap. He's been getting me 23, 25 points a game in my cash lineups. But for me, it's a live betting spot. Hope that the Clippers can come out a little bit hot early on and get this number lower, then jump on the Suns. I think the Suns win the game. They're certainly the better basketball team, and they're at home. They're a terrific home team. But I'd like to get that number lower. If I'm watching it and the Suns get out to a big lead and the line goes the other way, then maybe I could jump on the Clippers. But for me, it's a live bet or nothing. One spot I don't mind, Chris Paul over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He loves playing against his former team. He's been very good against his former team. In his last 5 outings, he's had over 60 fantasy points, 2 of those 5 games, over 40 in 3 of them. I do think Chris Paul, should have a higher usage rate today. Him and Devin Booker, I'd look at those props, but 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists is pretty low. I think Chris Paul gets to 30 in that regard.
I just want to say something real quick, Jordan, before you go, about Bismack Biyombo. First of all, I'm wearing a Raptors jersey, and that's relevant because the last time Bismack Biyombo was nice, he fooled the basketball world while being a member of the Raptors and balled out in those playoffs, and then people just started throwing money at this dude for some reason. Thank God it wasn't the Raptors, I could tell you that, because that probably would have stopped them from signing players that they needed to win the championship just a couple of years later. Anyways, Bismack Biyombo, though, in the last couple of games, he's been
good.
You play defense still.
I know.
He still play defense. Still
play defense. He's a clean. Listen, when I was in high school, I remember playing at Riverside Church. For those of you that know basketball, you'll know that's an institution in New York. And one of the coaches down there was describing a player to me, and he's like, "Oh yeah, him. He's cleanup." And I was like, "What does that mean? He's cleanup? We don't run plays for him. He grabs offensive rebounds. He cleans them up. That's what he does. Someone drives to the basket, they got nowhere to go. They dump him off. He dunks it, cleans it up. That's what Bismack Biyombo is. He's a professional cleanup dude. He grabs offensive rebounds, he dunks, and he's still dunking on people after all these years. I thought he was looking kind of out of shape and all that, but he's still got a little spring in his step. So he kind of deserves a contract, even though I understand what Kyle is saying by if you invest in Bismack Biyombo, what the F is going on. But the other dude, though, the young fella,
Jalen Smith,
been good.
Jalen Smith looks good too, bro. The Phoenix Suns got whoever the Phoenix Suns plug in there, it just works. So that's why I was looking at that square look. Like, I don't even care what's going on. Phoenix is so talented, especially on the inside compared to the Clippers, who play this version of 5-out basketball. Like, if you just watch the Clippers, they play 5-out basically on every possession. They don't have any type of inside game whatsoever. They have no rim protection. If you've got capable, competent bigs that can walk and chew gum at the same time, you've got an advantage over the Clippers to me. So anyways, Jordan, sorry I took up your time. What you got for us?
No, you're all good. Rob Hennigan signing Bismack Biyombo to that 4-year, $72 million contract. That may be one of the worst contracts ever. And that's no knock on Bismack Biyombo, because I say it all the time. Like, if someone is offering you a shit ton of money that you know you are way underqualified for, who are you in your right mind to turn down that money? If someosone's throwing money at you, that's their problem, not yours.
That ain't his bad.
That's
not
how
his
I felt
bad.
when I signed my BMR contract. Perfect.
So I mean, like, Biz, and like you said, Biz can still play. He can still plug up the mini. That dude has that dude's got a wingspan that's just a monstrous. Like he's got a wingspan about as long as Boban is tall. But I digress. I got one official on this one, under 108.5 first half. Both teams have been outstanding first halves defensively this year. Suns, I think, are second defensive rating in the first half. Clippers are fifth. Junior mentioned it already. Doesn't matter with Clippers, home, road, whatever, neutral site. They still play defense. They still bring the defense. My guy Nick Batum is going to be back tonight. That only is going to improve the defense. I mean, you're talking about a lineup of Bledsoe, Terrence Mann, and Batum. That's a pretty good 1 through 3 defensively right now. You throw in also now, my guy Zu Alcindor is out also. That kind of negates the problems that the Suns have been having down low, as Kyle mentioned as well. So you're talking about a lot of good wing defense, not a lot of easy buckets. I like the under early in this one. I like it more than the full game, but I also have a little sprinkle on the full game as well. I just like the first half a little bit better at 108, 108.5, depending on where you're getting it at. But yeah, I think that also it's a little bit of a revenge spot for the Suns. They got blasted by the Clippers early in the year. Their defense, I think, is going to be pretty engaged early on in this one at home. I could very easily see the Clippers being held to under 50 in the first half, under 100 for the game, if the Suns are truly, like you said, Chris Paul and the Suns are truly engaged in this one, because not going to have a ton of easy baskets. It's either going to come from the outside or it's just going to be a grinded out style game. I think it's going to be the latter. Give the under in the first half on this one.
All right, so we've gone over a little bit over the time, which is my fault because I was yapping during Jordan's time. But let's go ahead and get to these officials to get y'all out of here, man. Let's see what's up. Kyle, why don't you get us started, please?
I'm going to take that Celtics Knicks over 207.5. And if you want to throw Jaren Jackson over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists at minus 125, I think he goes over that tonight as well for Memphis.
Jordan?
Yeah, got the under first half, LA and Phoenix tonight, 108.5.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, that Warriors first half, I don't know why I wrote that. I must have been, I might have been puffing on a little something at that
Happy
time,
lettuce?
Yeah, it's Warriors full game -2. Although I do have a lean to Warriors first half as well. And Celtics -0.5 first quarter. I think after that heartbreaking loss last night where Jaylen Brown inexplicably just didn't dunk in a situation where nobody would have stopped him from dunking, and he blows a layup to lose the game, I think that they come out against a division rival and look to bounce back and gain some ground in the Eastern Conference. But that's it for us. Thank you for joining us as usual. Please don't be greedy. Make sure to share. Make sure to hit that like button because it really helps us out a lot. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any, not only episodes of our show, all the great shows like Kyle, he does football. We got soccer. We got everything you need. We got MMA. Everything you need to keep milking these bookies. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. We appreciate y'all. We out.